Deputy Ó Snodaigh as the Minister for Social Protection. And the topic is the effect of the cut in social welfare to those under 25 in emergency accommodation coming out of homelessness or care. And the Deputy has 5 minutes. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Good morning. Minister, you'd be aware of the context of this. There's an issue to do with young people in emergency accommodation who found themselves homeless. And as a small cohort of people, regrettably, it seems to be getting bigger. And these are people who, like all other young people in the country, were affected by the 2009 supplementary budget cut and other cuts since then, which cut the rate of job seekers allowance down to €100 and 144 for those who are over the age of 21 and under 25. At the time, I remember it was presented by the government at the time as being a way of incentivising young people to get involved in training, and also that it would reduce costs to the department. Everything is cost to the department, whereas in fact the actual effect has to increase costs to the department, I believe, because it has had the actual effect of trapping some young people in emergency accommodation, which definitely adds to the cost in the long term of the state. The young people in question, some of those are those who are under care under Section 5, or who are in fact under insufficient time in care and cannot access the training courses, or in fact in some cases access housing. These are young people also whose family relationship have broken down once they've become 18, and that the family have a responsibility up to their adulthood, and literally at the age of turning 18 they're turfed out and they're caught in a situation of homelessness, and all that entails for them. Young people also who are in emergency accommodation who are unable to afford the private accommodation, and we had a debate in committee last week in relation to especially in the city, but in Dublin, but also in other urban areas where the rent allowance and the caps imposed by this government didn't take account of the private market, the fact that rents in this city and some other places in the country has in fact increased, not decreased, and that the cap was unrealistic and has forced people into homelessness and has forced young people to have to remain in the accommodation. The young people are also facing prolonged homelessness because of that situation. That leads and feeds sometimes into chronic homelessness. So cuts to social welfare has caught a number of young people, a growing number of people, in the poverty trap, which the Minister had said at the time would alleviate that. And coupled with that, I had a topical issue selected here last week or the week before in relation to the foyer, one of those schemes in my own area, which is now the City Council and Cara, the group who run it, are trying to change the CTOS so it's no longer specifically aimed at the cohort I'm talking about, those young people from 18 to 25 who have nowhere else to go. They're trying to change it to a general homelessness centre, and all that entails. So I'm not going to go over that aspect again. Focus Ireland.
Time is just up, so
just finish up. Focus Ireland have raised a number of key points in relation to this cohort, and I would ask the Minister what is now the response from the Minister in relation to their proposals. The initial ones were rejected, and they've come back with further changes, which hopefully the Minister will take on board, which hopefully will address some of the concerns and some of the reasons why this group of young people are caught in a poverty trap and in homelessness.
Thanks, Deputy. And the Minister just wanted 4 minutes, Minister.
Thank Deputy for bringing this matter for the House. I take this today on behalf of Minister Burton. The €100 rate of job seekers allowance was introduced for claimants aged under 20 in April 2009. This rate was applied to claimants aged up to 21 from December 2009. A rate of €144 applies to claimants aged 22 to 24. The measures encourage young job seekers to improve their skills and remain active in the labour market in order to avoid the risk of becoming long-term unemployed, and this will help them to progress into sustainable employment on a long-term basis. Where a person is in receipt of a rate of job seekers allowance described above and he or she participates in a course of education or training, a higher rate of €160 applies. I understand that the Deputy has been contacted with regard to these measures by Focus Ireland. The Minister met with Focus Ireland on the 15th of May to discuss a number of issues in relation to homelessness, including the situation of young people in receipt of a reduced rate of job seekers allowance or supplementary welfare allowance, and officials are in ongoing contact with them in relation to their concerns. While the primary issue in this regard is a housing issue rather than one of income support, the Department of Social Protection has an important role in the delivery of solutions to homelessness. Generally, this role relates to income maintenance, where homeless people have entitlements to the full range of social welfare schemes subject to the normal qualifying conditions. But the Department also engages in interagency responses to homelessness. In this context, the Department will continue to engage with Focus Ireland and other groups in relation to issues relating to reduced rate payments. And I'm informed also that I think upwards of, by Minister Fitzgerald, that 17 million was spent last year in the aftercare of young people.
Thank you, Minister. Supplemental, Deputy.
Minister, I could have written that myself because we've heard some of that reply before. It doesn't take full cognizance of the fact that because of the rate changes, it makes it difficult for these young people to access alternative accommodation. There is very little one-bedroom flats, apartments, whatever you want to call it. Bedsits are no longer an option because they've been ruled out. So they are being squeezed on every which level. They don't have the ability to access stable long-term accommodation. There is less and less kind of facilities available to them, which means that they cannot then access the training courses and that because they don't have a long-term address. Also, the issue, kind of, and I remember debating it at the time, kind of why should we discriminate against young adults? And that's what we're doing by setting different rates. It doesn't take into account that, in fact, a young adult of 18 is the same as an adult of 35. They have the same needs. In fact, in some cases, they have more needs. And especially this cohort, who are young homeless people, have many needs. And there is a need for a lot greater support to address their needs and to ensure that they have a stable accommodation, which gives them access to kind of the other supports that the Minister has put in place, and which hopefully will be developed in time for homeless people in general. But there needs to be a specific homeless strategy along the lines of what Focus Ireland and others have said, some of which was rejected in the past, but others kind of which ensures that there is a recognition of homelessness as a qualification for a full rate of social welfare. So if people are kind of homeless, and there's many ways of proving that, it isn't open to fraud, that you can get the full rate to take account of your additional needs. The additional points that Focus Ireland were hoping to raise when they met the Minister, and because this issue wasn't on the agenda, they're issues that have not yet been raised, so I'd urge the Minister to meet Focus Ireland again. The need for the regular social care support for this cohort of people, the need for six monthly case reviews, and a commitment, obviously by the young person themselves, that they would engage, but also the key worker that's assigned to them, that they would fully engage and ensure that all of these issues will be addressed.
Thanks,
and more facilities such as the Cara Foyer, or the Foyer which is down
Deputy,
in Cork,
your time is up.
which is run by the City Council, not by an organisation which looks like getting out of the delivery of Foyer.
Minister, did you want to
I'd like to assure Deputy Ó Snodaigh that I'm ensured that the Minister will be given a copy of your comments and for direct reply. But I think the key of the kernel is that the Minister has met with Focus Ireland, the Department continues to engage with them on the issues that you've raised here tonight.
Thank you. And the next topical issue is in the name